Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Billy. Today I would like to share with you two dresses that continue the dart manipulation that I started in my last video, video 81, to create this pleated neckline effect. So the first dress that I will share with you today is this shift dress here, made from 1 yard of cotton sateen that I purchased from moofabrics.com maybe 2.5 years ago. And so here is a look of this texture and the print itself. And the print is called Morning Glory. And so I just really love it. So I previously used this same fabric in my video 32 when I recreated a look that was inspired by the By Hand London Eloise dress. So I originally purchased 2.5 yards of this fabric, and to my surprise, that other dress from video 32 only required 1.5 yards. And so I had this 1 yard left. And because it was only 1 yard, so for the longest time, I always thought that it would be really only enough for a shift dress. And so indeed, that's what I ended up using it for. So after how nicely the pleated neckline worked out from my last video, I want to do something even more. So I went rogue and eliminated all the darts for this shift dress. So this shift dress has no darts whatsoever. And even though technically it was supposed to be the same shift dress as the yellow shift dress that I previously made for the So Yellow for Indo 2022 challenge that I talked about in my video 79. And so how I got to this point was actually pretty straightforward. So I have been using the same shift dress since my video 64. And in my video 66, I shared with you how I tied a string of chicken twine around my waist to mark the waist, and that allowed me to separate out the shift dress into a separate bodice and skirt. And then so this bodice portion is an evolution of that bodice. And for the skirt portion, I previously talked about in a video about how I eliminated the waist darts and to turn that skirt portion into a cute A-line skirt. And so to create this look, I basically put the bodice piece and the skirt piece, one right below the other, and I just kind of smooth out the lines to allow me to connect the bodice to the skirt, because they would not, the connection is not smooth actually, and so I just kind of smooth it out a little bit, and so that's how I got to this shift dress. And because it has no darts, I was actually a little surprised it did not work out as well as I thought it would be. So for the bodice, I think it works very well. The bodice looks really nice. And same thing with the bodice in the back as well. It has no extra fabric. However, for the skirt portion, I guess because I needed to add fabric, on the side seams to allow me to connect the bodice portion to the A-line skirt portion, it just ended up having a little bit of an excess fabric. It actually looks okay from the front. However, if you look at the back, it definitely has a little more excess fabric. So it's not so loose of a shift dress so that it would not be noticeable, but it's not so fitted either. So as a result, I still quite like it, but it just did not turn out as well as I had hoped it would be. But still, I'm still very happy about how it turned out. And originally I made a matching belt to to go with this dress just because I had the fabric. However, I decided I like the look better as a shift dress versus a dress with a belt. And the reason, part of the reason I think, is also because when I added the belt, it accentuates the excess fabric both in the front and the back. And so I probably would not wear this dress with that belt. But still, it's there if I change my mind. So, so here is a quick video of this dress, and I paired it with a 3-inch or 3.5-inch heels in red velvet or red suede by Marc Jacobs. And here you can see side by side with the by Hand London Eloise inspired dress, and to show you two dresses made from the same fabric. And I really love it, and they look sufficiently different, so I do not feel like I am repeating the same dress by using the same fabric. I lined this dress with about a yard of about 56-57 inch wide rayon challis that I purchased from fabrichwholesaledirect.com. And just like before, I also lined this dress using the burrito method, and I will also link it in the description box below. And to sort of make life easier for myself and also for my viewers, I recently created two playlists for my channel. One is How To by Billy. Another playlist is How To by Others. So it would be very easy for you to refer to for future reference when the occasion arises. The second dress that I will share with you today is this one here, made from 1 yard of about 56-inch wide cotton Faille fabric that I purchased from Mood Fabrics store in New York City's Garment District in the summer of 2019. So this fabric is almost 3 years old at this point. And so here's a quick look of this, the texture and also the print of this fabric. I just love how vibrant this fabric is, and this is an ex-designer fabric by Carolina Herrera, and I really admire her work and her design aesthetics. So really, I was really happy to buy this. And but I only purchased 1 yard of this fabric because originally I thought that $25 a yard was a bit pricey to pay for cotton fabric, so I just only bought 1 yard. And also because originally I had planned to make a shift dress, a simple sleeveless shift dress with this fabric. So 1 yard generally is sufficient for that purpose, and so I just only bought 1 yard. However, since I bought it, I just couldn't quite, I just was never happy with whatever shift dress I had in mind for this fabric. So that's why I just never used this fabric. The original plan for this fabric was that if the first dress had worked out exactly as I had anticipated, I will make another version of that dress using this fabric. However, because that dress doesn't fit me perfectly well, so I decided not to, make another one of that shift dress using this fabric. And so what I did was I decided to just pair the bodice with my good old trusty New Look 6843 View A, the quarter circle skirt. But in this case, because I only had 1 yard of this fabric, so the skirt portion is a bit shorter. It's about 2 inch shorter from the standard sort of the knee length that I prefer. But I still really love it. So here, so let me just sort of stand on this so you can see it's still not too short. It's just about the knee, but it's not too short. And to preserve as much length as I can, I also use the the method that one uses for the sooo blouse finish. So it's a super tiny baby hem for this one. So I'm really happy about this. About this cotton Faille fabric, Faille generally is a much stiffer fabric, and normally I see it more often in the silk section at Moods store in New York City's garment district. But this one, as I mentioned earlier, is a cotton Faille, but it's actually how they achieve the stiff sort of texture or the drape of this fabric is actually, it's a very thin cotton, but there is a backing that is glued onto the fabric itself. And because I bought this so early on, I did not know what it was. But now I do think that the backing is simply a fusible interfacing. And so basically the entire fabric is interfaced with this fusible interfacing. And the reason I figured that out was after I pre-washed this fabric in with cold water, and the interfacing portion just got all bubbled up, and it looked so awful. And I was like, okay, I knew I did not ruin this fabric because the cotton portion is still good, but the backing portion got all bubbled up. It just looked terrible. But I tried to peel off the backing a little bit, but then the fabric definitely would have lost all of its stiff quality, and so I wanted to see if I could maintain, keep that backing. So I just ironed it, and with fairly high temperature, and it works out great. The bubble disappeared and the backing became perfectly smooth again, and so I'm very happy about that. But one sort of a drawback about this fabric is that the backing was not applied straight. So as a result, when I was cutting out this dress, and considering that I only have 1 yard of this fabric to begin with, I had to sacrifice, I would say, about almost 2 inches on either side of the cutting line, because the backing was not applied straight. And so I could only use the portion where there was backing. Even there were some portions where there was this cotton fabric, but there was no backing. But I decided I did not want to chance it, and so I could only use a portion of the fabric with the backing. So that in a way did further limit what I can do with this fabric. But still, I'm really glad that I managed to cut out this dress using this 1 yard of fabric. And because of that, there are no pockets for this dress, just because they were just not enough at all. And so I do feel something missing a little bit about the fact that this dress has no pockets. And also about the belt, this belt is made up from 8 smaller pieces of fabric. I had to connect them all to allow me to have this, to make up this belt. But I figured that, I tried to connect it where the seam would not show so much. So for example, there is a seam right here, and one side is white, one side is red, and this side is white. And also on the white portion is next to this red portion too, so it's not so obvious. So anyway, so there are 8 pieces to make up for this belt. And because this fabric already had a built-in backing, I did not need to reinforce this belt. And so it was a very quick project to just make up this belt. And just like before, I secured it, with a pair of snaps. And so that works out great. And so here is a quick video of this Carolina Herrera print dress. And I paired it with the same 3.5-inch heels in red suede by Marc Jacobs. And I am truly happy about the pairing of this fabric with this bodice and skirt combination. I felt that I have done this fabric justice. And so I'm very happy about the outcome. And really, I guess, even though I generally am a fan of using quilting cotton, which is a very inexpensive fabric choice, I do have to say though, this is really, this fabric really does bring up my garment to a different level just because of the incredibly vibrant print and also the stiff nature of this cotton fibre. So I am really happy, and in a way I feel that, you know, obviously I could be wrong, but I feel that short of having a garment you know, made by haute couture houses, I just feel that this dress is probably as good as money can buy. So I'm really happy with that. Well, maybe short of, if I had lined this with silk, but I did line it with a generic rayon challis that I also purchased from fabrichosaledirect.com. And the reason was because I would have lined it with China silk, but I did not have white China silk in my stash, and I did not feel like buying it right now. So, but I'm still very happy about how this works out. So, so hopefully when the weather improves and when the COVID condition improves further, I should very much like to have the opportunity to really take this dress out for a spin. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed today's video about the sort of evolution or further play on the pleated neckline bodice that I started in my last video. So I'm just having so much fun, and this really has been such a great hobby for me. So anyway, on that note, I hope you will stay safe, be well, and I hope I will see you soon. Bye bye. Yeah, did you say bye? Yeah.